Arnold's old school training program, which he used to win 7 Mr. Olympia titles, is one of the best programs to follow if you're a regular person who wants to build a ripped, muscular, and athletic physique. But the program I'm talking about probably isn't the one you're thinking about, as Arnold's old school training has been exaggerated and blown out of proportion over the years. The program that first comes to mind when Arnold's old school training is brought up is probably his legendary double split routine. This grueling bodybuilding routine had Arnold training twice a day, 6 days a week. He would train each body part 3 times a week, and he would do an insane 20 sets of volume for each muscle group every single time he trained them, meaning he was doing upwards of 60 sets per muscle group per week. Now, if you're hearing this and thinking, Jesus Christ, what kind of lunatic could follow this routine week in and week out? Then you're probably a spoiled Canadian/American like myself. But remember, they don't call Arnold the Austrian oak for no reason. Arnold grew up in Austria just after it was decimated by World War II. His father was a hard ass. Life was bleak, and it was clear to Arnold from a young age that a good life wasn't promised to him, and the only way he was ever going to get the life of his dreams in America was if he worked his ass off. The reason I bring this up is that Arnold's mindset was a hugely important factor in him becoming the greatest bodybuilder of all time, along with his superior genetics and his super secret muscle building juice, of course. Arnold knew that training twice a day, 6 days a week was brutal work, but to him, it didn't seem so bad, seeing as in an alternative life, he could have been slaving away in some coal mine back in war-torn Austria.
Yes, you were tired. Yes, I had to come back for the second workout at night, but so what? So what? I mean, it's still not as bad as working in a coal mine at 1,500 feet down below the ground and get $1 a day like they have done in South Africa when I went down to visit Ridge Park. That was terrible work.
Arnold is such a gem. Now, this is how his double split training routine was set up. On days 1, 3, and 5, he would roll up to the Gold's Gym on Venice Beach in the morning and train chest and back, and then he would take a break, go eat, and then come back later in the day and hit legs, calves, and abs. And on day 2, 4, and 6, he would hit shoulders and arms in the morning, and then he'd take a break before coming back to train calves and abs later in the day. And that's for 2 reasons. One is that Arnold trained at a very high intensity. He would often superset his movements together back to back, and since he was always being pushed by his training partners like Franco Columbu and Frank Zane, he would take very little rest in between his sets.
I think that we had very little rest periods simply because of the supersetting and the triple setting and all this. And we pushed each other all the time. So imagine that you have a situation where I take a barbell and I'm doing now my 10 reps. And now I give it to you, right? You're standing right in front of me. You're my training partner. So I give it to you. It means that don't put it down because that's the rule, right? Yeah. So I give it to you. Now you do your 10 reps. Well, after your 10 reps, I got to take the barbell again. I cannot walk away to the water fountain because otherwise I'm going to act like a loser.
Yeah. And the second big reason is that Arnold and the other Golden Age legends never really looked at cardio as an important part of their training.
We never really looked at it as an important part of training. We never talked much about it. But the fact of the matter is we did it all the time. Frank and I, we would drive down San Vicente Boulevard on the way to the gym, and he would just pull over on the side. And I said, what are you doing? He says, let's just run 10 blocks down and 10 back, and then, continue driving. So that was just kind of like, on the way to the gym. And then when we were finished working out, he would always go and say, hey, let's go down to the beach and run in the sand.
So while Arnold didn't have any cardio as a structured and planned part of his training program, he and his friends did lead a very active lifestyle down on Venice Beach. And there's just something awesome about imagining Arnold and these other massive bodybuilders just running around in the sand on a Wednesday afternoon. It's just so heartwarming and honestly screams the golden age of bodybuilding. If you guys are liking the video and want me to do a full video covering Bruce Lee's old school training program, then leave a like, subscribe, and comment Bruce Lee down below. So should you move down to Venice Beach, run barefoot in the sand, and start following Arnold's double split training routine if you want to get crazy built like the Terminator himself? I would say no. This program is insanely high volume and doesn't leave nearly enough time for the natural lifter to recover. Even if you're pumped full with anabolics, like Arnold and his boys were back in the day, you would still have trouble following this routine for more than a couple of months. Because here's the truth, not even Arnold himself followed this plan all year round. See, this double split routine wasn't something that Arnold followed all the time, like many men's health and muscle and fitness articles might have you believe. No, Arnold only used this crazy high volume training routine for the 2 to 3 months leading up to a major competition, just to put the finishing touches on his physique.
The last months before the competition or before you want to really be in your ultimate shape, you shock the muscle all the time with unusual things.
In reality, Arnold's training went through phases, just like the training of any modern day bodybuilder or athletes would. And within these phases is where we find the training plan that Arnold says is perfect for the natural average lifter who wants to build a great physique. But of course, you're not going to build any muscle or lose any fat if you don't nail down your diet. That's why I'd like to introduce you to the diet tracking app that helped me lose 14 pounds and get fairly ripped in only 60 days. It's called MacroFactor, and it's a digital diet coach and nutrition tracking app all in one. If you're using MyFitnessPal, get out of the Stone Age and give MacroFactor a try. It's not just a place to write down your food. It uses the latest science, along with your personal stats and goals, to create for you a personalized diet plan that'll help you achieve your goals in as little time as possible. And along the way, as you track your eating and your body weight changes, it'll adjust your program as needed to make sure that you never plateau. To try it out for yourself, download the app using the link in the description of this video, and then use affiliate code DEMARCE to get your first 2 weeks free. Now back to the video. So Arnold's training was broken down into 4 main phases, and they all revolved around the yearly Mr.Olimpya competition. The following information is from an interview with Arnold from a 1975 September issue of the Muscle Builder and Power magazine. During Arnold's early days as a competitive bodybuilder, he would train with maximum effort all year round to prepare for the Olympia. But training at this intensity for this long led to Arnold feeling completely burnt out by the time the competition came around. So he knew he had to make a change if he was going to keep this up and improve year after year. This is why he created his 4-phase method, to make sure that he never got burnt out and to maximize his gains. These are how the 4 phases were laid out. After the Olympia, from October to December, he would stay active but train very little in the gym, allowing his body to fully recover from the stressful pre-contest double training split that we talked about earlier. Then, from January to April, his serious off-season training would begin. During this phase, Arnold would train for about an hour each day, hitting each body part twice a week with 10 to 12 sets of volume per muscle group each time. Because Arnold was such an advanced bodybuilder, this amount of volume was just enough to maintain his physique, while still giving him enough time away from the gym to be fully rested and ready for what was coming next. May to July is when Arnold would really start to take his training seriously again, bumping up his volume to 30 to 36 sets per muscle group per week. And then from August to October, this is where all f***ing around ended, and Arnold dove headfirst into his pre-contest prep and his legendary double training split. Now, it's this second phase of off-season training from January to April that Arnold recommends to average, non-competing bodybuilders who are looking to get into amazing shape. He said that this type of program could be followed for years and years, producing great results the whole time, assuming progressive overload is applied and you've got your diet in check. For this phase of his off-season training, Arnold would choose 2 exercises per body part and perform them twice a week for 5 sets of 10 reps each, meaning that he did 20 sets per muscle group per week. The only parts of his training that deviated from the structure was his calf training, which he would do every day in the form of 5 sets of donkey calf raises, his quad training, which he would do 3 movements for twice a week, meaning that he was doing 30 total sets of quad training per week, and finally his ab training, which came in the form of 500 continuous reps of Roman chair sit-ups and 200 leg raises, split up into 2 sets of 100. Now, doing 20 to 30 sets per muscle group per week is still on the higher end of what most natural lifters can handle, but assuming your recovery and diet are on point, following this type of high volume, high frequency training plan can lead to huge gains over the years. So for those of you who want to give this plan a try for yourselves, I've put all this information into a full training plan that you can download for free in the description of this video. Keep in mind that this program is somewhat advanced, so if you're newer to fitness or don't have access to any equipment, then you should check out my 17-week at-home training program first, as it will be a much better place to get started. Now, if you want to build a great physique, then you need to check out my video on Arnold's top 5 muscle building secrets, and I'll see you there.